veganism?
Veganism.
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 Veganism. Veganism is about
veganism. That's like change. With us is a vegan.
You are denying your body protein.
You eat a cow! It's the Holocaust! It's murderous!
Every time veganism comes up, it sounds like this. Loud. Defensive. Everyone already knows where they stand. Which is usually a sign that we're not actually talking about the right thing. The conversation almost always starts the same way. It's about food, about tradition, about biology, about the food chain. Most of these arguments sound reasonable. That's why they repeated. That's why they stick. And despite how often we talk about veganism, the debate almost never moves forward. Let me explain. The debate keeps circling the same arguments. That's how nature works. It's just the food chain. And that's when thinking usually stops. By the way, everything I'm talking about here is backed by research. I've linked all of the sources in the description if you want to go deeper. Anyways, psychologists have studied this tension. They call it the meat paradox, which says that most people care about animals. Most people believe unnecessary harm is wrong, and yet most people eat animals. This contradiction causes discomfort. In the 1950s, psychologist Leon Festinger called this cognitive dissonance. In simple words, it's the discomfort we feel when our actions don't align with our values or beliefs. This discomfort pushes us to resolve the conflict in some way. One way we will reduce this tension is by avoiding certain information altogether. Psychologists and behavioral researchers call this willful ignorance.
Researchers describe it as a coping strategy. When new facts threaten our habits, our identity, or our sense of being a good person, the brain looks for the path of least resistance. And very often, that path isn't change, it's avoidance. We scroll past uncomfortable headlines, we dismiss studies we haven't read, we lean on familiar phrases like it's natural, it's necessary, it's always been this way. Not because we've examined them closely, but because they let us move on without feeling the weight of the question. Willful ignorance is not stupidity, it's self-protection, and it shows up everywhere, not just in what we eat, but in how we work, what we buy, and which systems we choose not to look too closely at.
In debates like these, there's a lot of defensiveness that stems up. To understand more about this defensiveness, we had the chance to sit down with Tobias Leenaert, a Belgian activist, speaker, and the author of the book How to Create a Vegan World. Question 1. Why does veganism trigger so much defensiveness?
I think from a psychological point of view, there's two that I would highlight. One is that they're afraid of something being taken away from them that they like, right? So if you like to eat meat, somebody says like, shouldn't eat meat, then the consequence of thinking about the ethics of meat eating might be that you shouldn't eat meat. Another major reason I think is that they feel often attacked and judged. So when I say I'm vegan because I don't like to make animals suffer for my food, then other people might say, oh, but I'm doing that, or I'm complicit in the suffering of animals, so does that make me a bad person? People don't like to think of themselves as bad people. So one thing that they can do to like sort of counter that feeling is to go into the offensive and attack or ridicule that person that is talking about veganism. So that I think is very much also what's playing there. Is the feeling that people get judged, that they're not enough, that they're not good enough, that they're not ethical enough, etc.
What Tobias is pointing to here isn't really about food, it's about identity. Most of us think of ourselves like decent people, and when a choice we have to make every day gets framed as harmful, it doesn't feel like information, it feels like an accusation. The reaction isn't curiosity, it's defense. Not because people are cruel, but because being a good person is viewed as socially desirable. And when you start seeing it that way, the debate starts to make a little more sense. Question 2. Why do we feel compassion for some animals, but not for others?
I think to a large extent this is cultural. So people have learned to see dogs as companion animals and to see pigs as consumption animals, right? In other cultures that might not be the case, or in other cultures in South Korea or whatever, people may see dogs also as consumption animals, or some people might. But this is something that we learned, and that just continues to be reinforced, I would say, by the fact that our behavior there is sort of aligned with what we do. So we believe that dogs are companion animals and we treat them as companion animals. We believe that pigs are there to eat and we eat them because you are eating them. Because you are eating them, you are defensive against any idea that says, oh, pigs are actually like dogs. You don't want to find that out, so we call that motivated reasoning. You want to achieve a certain conclusion because you want to keep doing what you're doing.
This idea that some animals are friends while some are food feels natural, but it isn't universal. It isn't fixed. It is learned, and culture quietly teaches us where to draw the line. Some animals get names, some get stories, while some end up as food. And once these categories are set in place, compassion becomes selective, without us consciously choosing it. Question 3. Will we see veganism differently in the future?
I believe there's a good chance of that it will be seen differently in the future. It's definitely completely normalized right now, and that is also why it's hard to see for many people what is wrong with it. I always say most people eat meat because most people eat meat. Most people do what other people do, and they are going to judge whether something is moral or immoral, good or bad, based on what most of the people are doing. I think we as humans, if we want to distinguish ourselves from non-human animals, we can say look, we have a more developed cognitive and moral apparatus with which we can make these decisions of not gonna eat this, but I'm gonna eat that. I think a lion probably not tell or decide for themselves, I'm gonna eat non-flesh things today. Probably not. Maybe there is some awareness that we haven't witnessed yet, but probably not. But we can say that, and so if we want to be really human, I think that that's a good thing to follow up on. I think also we should not, if we can avoid it, not decide that an animal should be killed.
With us is a vegan activist and campaigner.
Every generation believes it's seeing the world clearly, and every generation is certainly wrong about something. History isn't just a record, it is full of practices that were once viewed normal because of tradition and culture. In that moment, certainty feels complete, but in hindsight, it rarely does. History tells us that what feels normal is rarely questioned in the moment, it's questioned later, when distance makes certainty easier to see. And maybe that's the uncomfortable part. Not whether veganism is right or wrong, but whether the arguments we rely on today will still sound convincing when we're looking back. And maybe the real question was never about what's natural. Maybe it was about why do we do this if we don't need to? That being said, maybe the debate deserves a better question.